Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. This episode we're gonna continue with the previous video where we learn how we can pick a certain random index and then kind of using repeat and blur nodes to kind of make something disappear. In this case, I use 3D text inside geometry nodes, and at any time we can actually change this wording like love and peace, for example, and then everything will still work. Oh, okay, that's L still there. that's that's kind of interesting, but anyway, we're gonna get inside and see some of the logic and then whether we can improve this. So first of all, with the 3D part, the 3D text is pretty simple. String to curve with the input coming from here, and we need to realize the instances. Otherwise, if you actually keep this as a single instance, each and every geometry will still be treated as a single instance, and we're gonna get a different result totally. So we should keep this. We need to have realized instances after this, and then fill the curve, extrude mesh. We need to keep the original one, but flip the face, join geometry. We need to do that anyway in geometry nodes. And then what I use here is just distribute points on faces, point to volume, volume to mass, and we don't need subdivide. So we are using delete geometry. Here I'm actually using repeat input for something that's actually can be simplified. I repeat it 10 times, just to get more index points to delete our text here. It's 40 frame. It's 80 frame. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, we can always randomize the seed anyways. Can get different result, which is interesting in its own way. So the repeat input actually, let me show you the breakdown. The blur nodes is actually the one that's doing the job with the propagations. Okay, what I did here with the repeat, however, this is the complex way to do it. Inside the repeat nodes we have random pick index. We don't actually need to use this, but you can use the repeat. So inside the random pick index we have an index comparison. So compare the whole index whether it's equal to the random value over here, and then if it's equal, get the result, and then get the previous result, add it to the new random boolean, and then just output the value. We don't actually need to do this, but this might be useful for different case. In case you didn't compare it with just a simple random value, maybe you want to compare it with how close or how far a point from something. So you don't actually need this repeat. What we really need is something, just a value, and then we want to use blur attributes to propagate the result. Okay, so if I delete all of these, we end up with nothing. We need a value coming in through the blur attributes, random value. So this is all we need. Okay, apparently it's super simple. Random value have boolean, and we have probability here, and then we also have this value that we can plug into blur attributes, set to float, and then we have result. Magic. So probability, the more you have this, the more it's gonna, you know, it's gonna delete the face before we do anything. So just have this value very small, 0.005 or something. We can randomize the seed, go through the frame. You can see it's eating out the love and peace. Okay. Okay. We don't want that. We want the love and peace, but it's just showing you how things propagate. But apparently, so it's very simple. So any geometry, in this case, it's a 3D text. It's coming in, and we just delete the face based on selections. That's actually a float, a value set to float. Don't use integer. If you use integer, we don't get anything, because this is float. We get this propagation effects, which is really cool, and it's doing iteration inside it. There's actually this weight, the weight value. That's actually super interesting. If you set this low, like really low, if you actually use random value here, 0 from 0 to 002 or something, what's gonna happen? Maybe some place it's gonna work slower. So this could be something we can use. So random value 0 and 1, and then there's a seed. This multiply with this value. I don't know. I think this could be very useful. It gets really slow, right, at the very end. Yeah, maybe not that slow, but anyhow, we like to have some kind of variations, and yeah, we can actually adjust that with weight. Maybe we don't want everything to happen at the same time. Okay, Blender somehow occasionally when doing this, because it's alpha or beta, it's crashing. But I'm gonna show you another example, very similar. It's the one that I've worked on. Okay, similar setup, just slightly more, seems to be more complicated, but not really. You can delete this, save. So originally it's like this, right? We have this blue and red color because it's two-sided. The one that's with the normal facing in, the other side it's gonna be red color. The inside is gonna be red color. But if you render this out, unless you do something with the material, then it won't be green and purple. Okay, in this case, I already make changes to the material. So in the material shader, if I select this guy, take a look. We have the principal VSDF and the color coming in. We use the back facing parameter of the geometry as a vector. So this is gonna control what color we want the inside is gonna be and what color is gonna be the outside. Okay, so that's important. That's for the material. Anyhow, let's get back to the geometry nodes. Select geometries. Okay, this is we get these effects. We can randomize the seed at any time. We actually have smooth as well. Smooth set to 8. We can increase. Without the smoothing, we're gonna get jagged result, like pixelated. We need this to be smooth. You see the effects actually almost like a balloon, like a bubble balloon when it pops. It just disappear like that. If it's in slow motion, let's take a look. Propagate. So again, we have the texting, text, realize instances, extrude, distribute points, etc. Subdivide. Oh yeah, I use subdivide. The more I use subdivide, the more surface I have, so it's gonna affect the final result. Let's keep this to 1. So that's with the geometry. The rest of them, the same thing. Delete geometry face. You can try using points. Yeah, you know, points is also interesting. In this case, just use face. You can try also with spline and instances, maybe in a different video. Set material, set shading to smooth. We have this additional effects of set position, but the rest of them is the same. I'm trying to affect the weight here. So minimum and maximum. This one actually need to be 0 and 1, and remember, you just use math, multiply this with 0.002 or something. So the effects will slow down near the end. Maybe that's what you want, maybe. But the weight has effects with the blur nodes. The rest of them is the same, just random value with probability. We don't actually need this evaluate on the domain. I don't know why I have it there. Okay, you can have any title. You see the text here? The text have some kind of wrapping. That's because I'm using this text box width. Without the text box width, it's just gonna be a single line. Okay, I managed to have everything disappear. Let's get back to this. The blending of the snail man. The killing of the flower moon. Oh, just a beautiful and peaceful day. We want beautiful and peaceful day. We don't want it to disappear. Anyhow, so yeah, the rest of them is just noise texture, because I want to randomize as the thing goes. This one also become kind of exploding, but we don't want it too much. Maybe the way it explodes at the moment is just like wiggling. Maybe not exactly the effect you want, but just for this demo, I think that's fine. If it's like a balloon exploding, then we need something that makes the text kind of expanding, and while it's disappearing like this. Okay, so anyhow, the most important nodes is just the blur attributes, set to float, probability. You can increase the probability to have more holes, or just make it really, really small value. If the value is too small like this, like 0.00 something, use math, multiply this with 0.02 or something, and then you adjust 0.001, and then you adjust this value. So it's not exact, how many holes we want or how many holes we actually have. Any surface that's connected together will disappear. The ones without any hole will stay there. See, it's almost like, oh yeah, with the geometry nodes you can actually make like a game of life thing, game of life, and it's kind of like that. If it's just like that's interesting. Yeah. So we need enough hole to make everything disappear, and maybe yeah, just do the reverse. We can actually do the reverse. Ah, that's cool. Okay, so that's pretty much the extra addendum to the previous video. Hopefully this is clearer. And you can make modification to this. You can use not text, maybe use other things. Maybe because it's quite random, you know, like a cheese. Maybe you can do something about it. You can use this. You can use this idea. Just, you know, they look so imperfect and beautiful. Uh, Maybe that can be useful for different effects. We will see. Okay, so thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.